everyone, and welcome back. I am the Witty Shrew. In our last video, we created our Hello World program, and we used our algorithm as a guide to keep us on track. Today, I'm going to be teaching everyone about integers, what they are, and how to use them. We will also be covering some definitions that are essential to today's lesson. But before we get to all of that, I want to show everyone a different way of creating our Hello World program. I am going to make that same program using just one file, instead of two files. In the previous lesson, we created a header file and a C++ file and imported the header file into our C++ file, and then we compiled our program. You don't have to create simple programs in that manner. Why did I create the program with two files instead of one? That is because I wanted to teach that it's a vital practice for a forthcoming software engineer to learn the importance of creating and importing multiple files in a project. If you're serious about computer programming as a profession, then it is important to learn how to do this. When you find yourself working one day with a team of colleagues in a large project, you will already be in good practice with using multiple files. However, because this is a beginner series, I will show you guys and gals how to create a single file program. So we're going to open up two applications here, Microsoft Visual Studio Community 2017, or your IDE of choice, that is Integrated Development Environment, and your word processing program of choice. I'll be using Notepad. In Notepad here, I'm going to create our algorithm. So let's get started doing that. Here in step 1, we will create a new C++ file. In step 2, we will include IOStream. In step 3 here, we're going to create our main function of type int. In step 4, we're going to create our standard character out statement, if I can spell, message. In step 5, we're going to create our character input statements to freeze the screen and await input. In step 6, we will return 0, and we will save the project. And in step 7, we will compile our program. Okay, so let's take the time to get started doing that. We're going to hit File, New, Project, choose a directory for it, give it a name. I'm going to call mine Single Hello World. Hit OK. Okay, now that it's loaded, you're going to right click here on Source Files. You're going to click Add New Item. We're going to create a new C++ file. And call mine Hello World. Hit Add. Okay, so we are now done with this step. Over here at step 2, we're going to include IOStream. So grab that. include IOStream here. Now we're going to create our main function of type int. Okay. Now we're going to create our standard cout statement. Here we go, something like that. Go ahead and widen the window a bit. We'll type std here, colon, end L, and don't forget the semicolon for terminate. Now time for our character input statements. Okay. Alright. Then we will return 0 and save our project. Okay. Oh yeah, lowercase. Sorry about that, guys. Alright. So now let's save. And actually, if you wanted to get an error, leave it as caps like that. Let's actually see the error we get. So right here we're at debug x86. Let's run it. Let's read our error. Alright, our error says identifier return is undefined, expected termination, return undeclared identifier, and error missing before constant. See, all these errors that pop up just because I didn't spell return with a lowercase. So it's real important that that you guys pay attention even to small stuff like that. But notice whenever I type it out correctly, it also changes to blue color. Now, let's rerun this. Alright, and there we have it, guys. There is our executable program. And just press enter, it'll close it. Okay, now that I demonstrated to everyone the basic way of creating a simple program using just one file, we'll here soon close this project and start our next one. But before we do, let me show you how to run your program by itself without using your IDE. So, by default, Microsoft Visual Studio 2017 creates an executable file of your program when it is compiled. This .exe file can be found in the following places of your project solution folder. As long as you have had at least one successful compile, then you will have by default your executable file in your debug folder or a release folder, or both, depending on the setting you chose for your compilation. By default, the setting right here is debug. If you want to change it to release, then back here on our project, we'll click from debug to release, and then we'll go ahead and make sure everything's saved, and we'll compile again. And if anyone is having problems with their antivirus marking your programs as hostile or untrusted, then you can go to your antivirus program settings to add your programs to create a whitelist of it, and you'll put it on a whitelist. To do so, just Google the name of your antivirus program followed by whitelist, and you should find a website that will guide you through the process of adding a file or application to said whitelist. Now that your program has been recompiled as a release build, here we're going to go through our project folder and find that executable program we created. We're going to find the one in debug, and we're going to find the one in release. And we'll show you guys how to run the program without using Microsoft Visual Studio 2017. Okay, so as soon as that gets done, I'll close that. Close that. Okay, and we are going to go over here. Now, it'll be wherever you put your project solution at. I'm going to go to where mine is at. Alright, now that you're at your project solution folder, you're going to see two folders in here now that we've compiled a debug and a release. You're going to see debug and release. We're going to go to debug first. You'll double click that, and you'll see an application here, and that's your program. If you just double click it. Alright, so congratulations, you now know how to show off your program to others. And if you want to show off your program on another machine, just make sure it has the C++ runtime libraries installed, or that won't work correctly. You'll get some errors thrown at you if you don't have them. Obviously, if you have Microsoft Visual Studio 2017, then you already have the C++ runtime libraries when you chose the C++ module upon installation. But if you're on someone else's machine or just want to show it to a friend on their computer, to get it on their machine without having to download the IDE, they can Google C++ runtime download and make sure they get them from a trusted source such as Microsoft. If they're on a 32-bit computer, then they need to get the x86, and if they're on a 64-bit computer, then they need to get the 64-bit C++. Okay, everyone, that ends part 3A of this video. Keep an eye out for part 3B. When we will be creating our algorithm for our integer application and creating the integer application, as well as going over definitions for that project. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell to stay notified. I'm the Witty Shrew, signing off.